Assalamu alaikum. I hope all of you can hear me.
Yes, miss.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Fariha Raza. I'm the head of marketing faculty at Institute of Business Administration, Karachi. It is a privilege for me to be associated with Aspire Consultancy and Training for the past 4 years. And together we have been conducting several workshops uh, pertaining to different aspects of marketing and branding. So today I'm here in front of you with a simple guideline how to craft a blue ocean strategy. I would like to take a few moments and know that how many of you have a background knowledge of doing strategy work in your organizations. I believe that most of you would be having some working experience. तो आप में से कितने लोग ऐसे हैं जो डे टू डे इन्वॉल्व हैं अपनी कंपनी की या अपनी ब्रांड की स्ट्रेटेजिक प्लानिंग के हवाले से? All right. Those of you who are involved in the strategic planning, you would be knowing that you have to plan according to the market conditions at times. And many of us feel frustrated that when we have to devise a strategy for growth, usually we are facing limitations in time, in terms of the market space, in terms of the competitive activities, or in terms of certain forces or trends which are in the environment which cannot be influenced by us. So today we are going to learn how this new strategy of creating an uncontested marketplace actually helps a strategist to overcome these limitations in a very structured way. As you would be seeing on your screens, I'll be briefly touching upon what is strategy. Then we will be discussing briefly what are the traditional growth strategies and what are the traditional generic competitive strategies. ये तीन एस्पेक्ट्स हमारी आज के वर्कशॉप के ऐसे हैं जो एक फंडामेंटल रिकॉल है मार्केटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी के हवाले से, और वो तमाम लोग जो इस वक्त इंडस्ट्री में काम कर रहे हैं, we would like them to recall and place them in that business situation in which they face these limitations and they face these, you can say, decision making aspects. Once we have recalled what is strategy and what are the traditional strategic outlooks, then we will be moving forward with the main crux of today's workshop, which is that what is blue ocean strategy and how is it different from the traditional growth strategies and the traditional generic competitive strategies. We will be discussing what is the essence of blue ocean strategy. How do you realize whether a strategy is blue ocean or not? And then we all as a nation feel constrained that we might not be very creative. So in today's workshop, we are going to learn and practice some very simple frameworks and tools which will help all of you in training your minds to think in a blue ocean way of strategizing. So we will be covering the 6 parts framework, and we will be covering the strategy canvas and value curves. I would really appreciate if my audience is interactive. We will be doing some assignments together. We will be drawing some strategy canvases and value curves together. So it is imperative that you remain focused and attentive throughout this session. Obviously, you are free to pose any question that you want, and I'll be taking your questions. I'll be clarifying your confusions pertaining to this flow of presentation. All right. So coming to the first element of my workshop, we are recalling over here what are the traditional growth strategies. All of you who have worked in the market, you know that when you bring a product in the market, you are mainly concerned with increasing the revenue.
Yeah, traditional growth strategies.
Participants, I would request you to keep your mics muted unless and until you have a question to ask. I'm repeating, this is the first section of my workshop in which I'm going to help you recalling what are the traditional growth strategies.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam. Do you have any question? Thank you so much for muting your mics. You are free to unmute them if you have a question. If you want to pose a question, feel free to unmute your mic, but otherwise, please keep your mics on mute. So as I was saying that we will be recalling the traditional growth strategies, this slide is presenting to you what your crux of traditional marketing strategies looks like. Once you bring a product into the market, you are concerned with the bottom line. What will be the sales revenue? What will be the market share? How can you achieve more growth for your company and for your brand, but with the existing product or with the existing markets? So traditionally, we are trained to think that either we can go for developing the existing market, which means that you have to localize your marketing efforts, or you have to research what is required by the market and how can you take your market to that new geographical or territorial region. Market penetration means that how can you increase the usage of your current products and services within the existing set of customers. Whereas product development means that while remaining within the current set of customers, what new products, what new brands, what new features you can introduce them. The fourth one is diversification, in which we are looking at a new set of customers and we are going to them with a new set of products. In the last few workshops that I have conducted, not just with Aspire, but with other set of outsiders as well, we felt that there was a confusion in the minds of the audience between what is diversification and how is thinking out of the box different from diversification. So over here, let me repeat once more that diversification, market development, product development, and market penetration, these are the set of traditional growth strategies. Over here, we are not going to do, when we are thinking of these four strategies, we are not thinking of a quantum leap in terms of our value for the buyers. Either we are trying to gain more market share from within the existing market using the existing set of products that we have, which is the market penetration, or we try to increase the market share by expanding into a new geographical region, taking the existing set of products to that new market. Otherwise, what other alternatives do we have? That for the same set of customers, we bring in something new. We bring them some new products. Or what else can be done? We either go for related diversification or we go for unrelated diversification. Related diversification means that we are good in one product category. So whatever is similar to that product category, whatever is accessorizing that product category, we try to develop that brand, we try to develop that within the product category, and we take it to a new market. Unrelated diversification means that we enter into a business which has no synergies with our existing businesses or with our existing product or brand portfolio. We develop something totally unrelated to our existing businesses and we take it to a customer who is also new for us. So this is the crux of diversification. If you people recall market development, diversification, market penetration, and product development, you would be very much enabled to recall examples from your specific, you can say, work history, or from what you look around, from what you study, what you hear in news, what you see on screens, that what could be the examples of market development or market penetration or diversification or product development. If somebody has any questions on these four traditional growth strategies, that person can post them now before I move on to the next slide. No questions? All right. Let me take you to the next slide, in which I'm going to share with you the competitive strategies. Michael Porter, you all know this name very well if you have been in the field of marketing and if you have been in the field of management. Porter came up with competitive strategies, and he said that if you have to compete in a market, you can develop a competitive advantage for your product, which competitive advantage means that you excel in something which will make you stand out in that particular industry, and it will help you in gaining a larger revenue or a larger market share. So Porter said that there are basically two sources of competitive advantage. First is that you focus on lowering your costs, which means that, in other words, you go for operational efficiencies. You practice a process so much that you become a master in that process. Your learning curve attains a new height, and the cost of repeating that process becomes lower and lower. In other words, your learning grants you efficiencies which enable you to produce the same product at a cost which is lower than what the industry is incurring in producing that product or in delivering that service. When the focus of a company is on operating at a lower cost, we say that, according to Porter, the source of that company's competitive strategy is low cost. And I hope that all of you remember that cost is something which is different from price. In other words, price is the monetary amount that a customer is paying to buy or rent a product or a service. Cost is incurred by the manufacturer or the marketer or the people from the supply side, in which they account for the costs of producing or delivering or communicating the value of a product to the customers. So costs are incurred by the manufacturers or the marketeers or the supply chain partners, while the price is paid by the customers, and price is translated into the revenue for the marketer or for the company. So when we say that a company is deriving its competitive advantage by operating at a cost which is at a lower level than the industry, it means that the low cost is going to lead towards that company's competitive advantage. Now, why do companies focus on low cost? It depends upon the characteristics of the market in which they are operating. So, for example, if the set of customers that you are looking around is a price-sensitive segment, then obviously you would like to operate at a low level of cost, so that the differential in that cost can be transferred to your customer in the form of a competitive price as well, right? You cannot offer the most economical priced product in the market if your level of cost is not below the industry average. So one of the benefits of operating at low cost is that you are able to bring your product into the market at a relatively competitive price as well. This can only be achieved if you are going for a larger segments of the market, and if you are going for mass production, if you're going for economies of scale. What is the other option of gaining competitive advantage in the market? According to Porter, the second source of competitive advantage, or rather an alternative source of gaining competitive advantage, is differentiation. Differentiation means that you are trying to convince your customer that you have developed a brand which is so unique in the market, it has such different features which achieve the best fit with your needs, that there is no other comparable product or brand in the market which can satisfy your needs so well. When this concept of differentiation is created in the minds of the customers, what happens? The sensitivity attached with the price in the mind of the customer breaks down. So if I am convinced as a customer that, for example, L'Oreal is going to provide me the most differentiated set of cosmetic products category, then I will not be worried about paying a higher price than what other competing cosmetic brands are offering. And in this way, my acceptance of L'Oreal as a highly differentiated brand will make me pay a higher price for buying those products as well, which are on L'Oreal's product portfolio. This example shows that according to the traditional mindset, you can either go for low cost competitive strategy, or you can go for a differentiated competitive strategy. Now, as you can see on the screen, on the vertical axis, I have shown you the scope, that what is the size of the market to which you are going with the low cost or you are going with differentiation. If you have selected a narrower segment of the entire market, then it means that your scope of operations is narrow. If you're going for a broader portion of that customer segment, it means that your scope is broad. So the intersection of scope and the source of competitive advantage is giving you 4 types of competitive strategies in the traditional framework, which are that either you can go for competitive advantage through cost for a broader segment, in which case the strategy will be cost leadership, or you can go for competitive advantage with the help of low cost for a smaller segment of the market, which will be called cost focus. Alternately, what you can do, you can bring in differentiation for a narrow segment of the market, and that strategy will be differentiation focus, or you can go for differentiation for a larger segment of the entire customers, and that strategy will be called differentiation for a broader segment of the market. These are 4 clear-cut traditional competitive strategies, but those companies which try to be unclear in their scope and in the source of their competitive advantage, where do they land? They land somewhere in the middle, and this strategy fails because neither is their competitive advantage sharp enough, nor is their scope clear enough. So they are following a confused type of strategy, and usually such companies or such brands, they are forced to leave the market. Now, this brings me to the close of my preamble, in which I tried to make the traditional growth strategies and traditional competitive strategies clear to you, so that once I start the introduction of what a blue ocean strategy is, you become very clear in your minds that how is that blue ocean different from the traditional growth strategies that we have just briefly overviewed right now, and how is the source of competitive advantage for a blue ocean different from what we have seen in this current slide, which is headed as Porter's competitive strategies. Does anybody has a question up to now? Should I move forward? All right. All right. Moving forward from here. As you would recall, our today's workshop is about blue ocean, and the purpose of today's workshop is to give you a very simple and very clear guideline of how to create a blue ocean. So the first question which logically arises is that, are we aware of the difference between red oceans and blue oceans? When do we say that a firm is operating in a red ocean, and when do we say that a firm is operating in blue ocean? Red ocean, and a red ocean is a very, you can say, decent name for cutthroat competition that we experience in the traditional markets. Can anybody of you give me a very brief answer of that? What do I mean by cutthroat competition? What do I mean by red ocean? Can we have a very quick answer on that?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, please.
Enough?
Yes, please. I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
In a cutthroat competition, the market is saturated. There are a lot many competitors in the market, and market is flooded with their products, and there is not much margin for the companies for the profit. And in such a tough competition, they are always weighing for their share in the market. So it's a red ocean market where there are chances are less for growth.
Chances are less for growth. That's very nice, very succinct explanation that you have given, that the market is saturated. When we talk about a saturated market, it leads us to one concept which I can briefly show you. If can you all see the whiteboard which is behind me? Is it visible to you people?
It needs to be focused in, because there is glare of light there. It needs to be focused in, there is glare of light.
All right. Is it better now? I think you can all see the rectangle that I have drawn over here, right? All right. As you rightly mentioned, the red ocean means that the market is saturated. It means that the boundaries of this market are inelastic. We cannot extend the market size beyond this maximum area that is being shown right now. And it also means that this entire size of the market is populated by too many players. By what do I mean by too many players? It means that the number of players is actually adverse or negatively correlated with the profitability of those companies. The larger the number of companies, the larger the number of products, or the larger the number of competing brands within a closed market space, as I have shown you over here, the lesser will be the revenue or the profit that will be earned by each brand. Why? Because the entire size of the market will be divided into many smaller, you can say, sizes. So a time would come when none of the players in the red ocean will be experiencing sustainability in their processes. They will start incurring loss. How will they do it? Because the market size as represented by this rectangle will remain fixed. If one more player enters the market, it means that, for example, the total market share will be divided amongst the two. So now if brand A wants to increase the market size and the total size of the market is going to remain fixed, it means that whatever will be gained by A will be lost by B. So the totals, you can say that sum total of this game becomes zero. What one company gains in the form of market share, the same share is lost by another company. Now, if we have three companies over here, again, the entire fixed market size will be divided into three. And if somebody wants to increase the market share, it will come at the expense of the market share of the other players in the market. So when you have used the word saturated, it means that there are so many players within the existing fixed market space that the sustainability of any new entrant is absolutely zero. No other entrant can enter the red ocean at that time when the market is saturated. Or if that entrant does enter the red ocean, then obviously there is no chance of making the profits in such a situation. So red ocean again means that we are competing head on. We are competing directly with those brands which are called our direct substitutes. The strategies that we have recalled so far, the growth strategies or the Porter's competitive strategies, all of them are relevant when we are talking about the red ocean. But what happens in a blue ocean is that we make the existing market players insignificant. We work at such a tangent that whatever the traditional players are doing in the existing market spaces, our businesses, our profitability, our sustainability, and our growth is not undermined by that. We have taken out of the box approach towards looking at the competitors and redefining our market space. And this is what we mean by blue ocean. Those calm waters which are not turbulent by existing players head-on competition. Any questions so far? All right. Now, what happens when we talk about blue ocean? You have seen in the last slides in which we talked about the competitive strategies that the source of competitive advantage can either be cost or it can be differentiation, right? And the confusion which usually occurs in the mind of the customers that what does blue ocean strategy entail? Isn't it differentiation, as I have told you a little while ago as well? I am bringing you to the crux of what blue ocean strategy is and how is that blue ocean strategy different from your traditional growth strategies. So participants, please keep your mics on mute unless Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So as I was telling you, dear audience, that the crux or the essence of any blue ocean strategy is how are you going to innovate the buyer value? How are you creating that value innovation? Value innovation does not mean technical innovation. It does not mean that you are bringing in a differentiated product in the market. But value innovation is actually a terminology which is very frequently used when you are talking or reading about blue oceans. And it means that you are simultaneously pursuing differentiation in buyer value as well as a reduction in cost, which means that you are actually breaking off from the cost and differentiation frontier. As you can see on your slides, whenever you are thinking of creating a blue ocean, what is the first thing that you have to keep in mind? Number one, what is the customer looking for and is still dissatisfied with the results, with the products, with the choices that are in the market, right? First of all, you have to understand that. You have to look outward. What are the pain points of the customers? And why are those pain points there, right? The second thing that you have to focus upon is how to reduce those pain points at a level of cost which is below the level of cost incurred by other players in the market. So as you can see on this slide, I have drawn two triangles. They are inverted. The triangle of cost is pointing down and the triangle labeled buyer value is pointing towards upwards. And when these two triangles overlap, we get this overlapping area, which is actually the value innovation, right? So diagrammatically, it is very simple concept to understand what value innovation is. We have to break away from this traditional thinking that either you are going to focus on cost or you are going to focus on differentiation. Over here, we are saying that it's not necessary that you differentiate on a very high-fi technical level to increase buyer value. You can go for very small increment changes which will have an exponential effect on the buyer value, but at the same time, you have to meet your cost targets so that whatever increase in buyer value you are incurring, that is not negatively offset by the incremental cost that you are incurring. This is very important to understand. We are not trained to think like that. When we are doing our own businesses, when we are working as employees, we are either focusing just on the cost aspect of delivering value, or we are focusing just on the differentiation aspect of delivering value. So what the first thing that we need to train our minds in this workshop is that there is a way in which you can simultaneously work on these two objectives. Which are those two objectives? That you have to reduce your costs and you have to increase your buyer value. If the increase in buyer value and the reduction in cost is significant enough, then with the combination of this reduction and increment, you are going to lead towards value innovation, which actually is the essence of your blue ocean strategy. Moving forward from here, it was very simple to show you on a slide that I have drawn two inverted triangles. The cost is pointing downwards and the buyer value is pointing upwards, and their intersection is going to create value innovation. But as a strategist, we need to devise a strategy. How are we able to achieve these two objectives simultaneously when traditionally very few percentage of the entire players in the market are ever even thinking of going from a red ocean towards a blue ocean? So how can we how can we provide this consultancy, how can we provide this guidance in a very simple manner, how to create value innovation. So over here, I have already highlighted the first step towards creating value innovation, which is that you have to pursue differentiation and you have to pursue low cost together. You cannot ignore differentiation and pursue low cost. Vice versa, you cannot forego or ignore low cost and pursue differentiation. You have to take both of them together in creating a higher buyer value. Okay, and how do you do that? Who are your customers? How do you find the scope? By creating a new demand in an uncontested market space. You have to understand this before you actually understand the tools that I'm going to demonstrate over here. New demand. Can somebody tell me what this qualifier new means when we put it in front of the word demand? What does new demand mean? Any ideas? What does new demand mean?
Something a product or an idea which has not been in the market, but if the company has very meticulously carried out the need assessment, and they can find out the differentiation, and if they see if the diversification is going to work, they may go for it.
All right. Yes, you have. I would accept part of your answer, and for the, I would like to make one slight but very important adjustment in your remark. When we do need assessment, right? For example, I am a customer. For example, I am a customer, and you are going you are going to do a need assessment of how to assess my needs. You are going to bring something into the market, and you have to assess what will be the needs that I can voice, I can express, right? When we are doing a need assessment from the customer's point of view, and our respondents are the customers themselves, we face a limitation, which becomes a very big limitation in the context of devotion. That I, as a customer, can only voice or I can only express needs that I have understood, right? So, for example, my smartphone is not working and I want to buy a new phone. So, I would be able to identify what features my smartphone was lacking and which brands have come up with new features which were not present in my existing phone. So I would feel a need for those new features, and that will help me in deciding what do I want to buy. That information will make my decision making a bit easy for me. Similarly, if I have some background information about the product or the industry in which you are already competing, in that case also what I would do is that I will be able to compare and contrast the different offerings that are available in the market, and I will be able to tell you in comparison with whatever is existing in the market that what my unmet needs are, and you as a marketer can do the need assessment that okay, these features have not been taken care of in our previous value offering, so let's revise our product, let's add some new features so that the expressed unmet needs of the customer are met, right? What if I'm not aware about my unmet needs? I don't have a clue what can be created. I don't have a clue how that new creation can increase my own effectiveness and efficiency. How will you be doing a need assessment in that case? Any comments? We are moving towards uncontested market space, right? And you have to create a new demand. So what I'm trying to highlight with my comments over here is that, yes, need assessment is the first step towards creating a new demand. But you would feel constrained if your customer either does not know what needs that customer has, which in the language of marketing is called latent need, or you would also feel constrained if the customer does not know what new things you can bring into the market to satisfy those needs of the customers which the customer has not even yet realized. ठीक है? तो new demand का क्या मतलब है कि you are trying to expand your frontier of the existing realized market demand. And how are you going to do it? There are again two ways of doing it. As you rightly said, you look at the customers. What options do they have currently? And then you look at the industry side, that what new things is the industry focusing upon. This gives you a starting point to think that how can you make a quantum leap which is far beyond what the customers can visualize, and it is also far beyond what the current industry players are focusing upon. It means that when you're thinking about creating a blue ocean strategy, you cannot go for benchmarking. You cannot set your value targets by looking at what is currently available in the market, or what the customers are currently demanding, or what you see that they could demand. Okay? Now, this is from where we are going to see what are the steps that will help you in channelizing your thought process towards creating a blue ocean. Okay? Blue ocean again meant unsaturated market space, a place, a world that you have created for yourself, where you are going to realize the demand of the customers. You are going to make them realize needs which they did not know existed, or which they did not realize that somebody could meet those needs in a much better, much differentiated, and a much cost-effective manner than the current customers. So over here, on this slide, what am I showing you? I am showing you a few equations, a few variables, a few interventions which are going to result in that value innovation, the overlapping area between the inverted triangle of cost and buyer value. So what are the things that you need to train your mind towards? You have to look beyond your existing customers and products. If you look at the first set of intervention, the top left column, you have to look beyond your existing customers and products. And we are going to do a very simple exercise of how to train your mind in looking beyond your existing customers and products, right? And in addition to this, you have to look across your non-customers and alternative products. Now, I have written this very simply, but let's see what do we mean by existing products and customers, and what do we mean by non-customers and alternative products. I would like some of you to comment upon what is your understanding about non-customers. Who will be the non-customers of a product or a brand?
The products could be focused on market segments. That could be different market segments, and customers would be from the different segments of the society. We may have some existing customers who are loyal to us and they have been buying our products, but there would be non-customers, either they do not have the need for those things or they are loyal to some other product or some other brand.
Fine, excellent. Are you working somewhere? Are you working somewhere?
Yes, ma'am, I work at FAST University.
Okay, so can you tell me who are your customers? You are working in a university, so your customers would be the current set of students who enrolled in your...
Current students, prospective candidate students, applicants, their parents, larger society. I look at the research portfolio, so all the organizations in the society that can jump in, then those people who can contribute, because FAST is a foundation, so all those people who can contribute for the scholarships for the students. So all the society comes into that sphere.
All right. Now, can you tell me who's your non-customer? Can you tell me who your non-customer is?
Those who are in jobs and those who have passed their productive ages may not be our customers.
Right. Since I am also working with the university, and my current association with IUBM is for last 5 years, so I can expand upon your example. So my customers, since we have different bachelors and programs, so all our valuable customers would be those who are seeking admissions in private universities to pursue their graduation in business studies, for example, in computer sciences or in industrial management, right, or in the field of education. So those are our existing customers. Then another set of customers is those who are going for graduate studies, graduate level studies, and another set of customers would be those who are going for their doctoral degrees, but who are our non-customers. So, for example, from my institution's point of view, executives are our non-customers, right? Why? Because we do not offer any executive education programs as such. For example, we are not offering any certifications in collaboration with certain certification consultancies or firms. So for the time being, yes, such people are our non-customers. And if I look at the products, again, I can define products at 2 levels. One is the set of our graduates, one product that our university is producing for the industry are the graduates who are equipped with knowledge and skills which are required by the industry itself, right? And in order to assure that, obviously we have degree programs, so they will be availing their degrees and the degree will be the product. But what alternative products can we have if, for example, the outcome of this education is a degree, then an alternate to this degree progress and process could be a vocational training, right? Or some sort of a certification which can be less formal, less time consuming than the 4-year or the 2-year degree programs. So in the context of education, These are the examples of customers, products, and non-customers and alternative products. Do we have some people working from fast-moving consumer goods industry or from the automobile industry or from any other industry which is apart from this education sector? Do we have some respondents, some audience from who are not working in any university or any schools? Can we have few people volunteering for discussion at this point? Do you have somebody from banks? All right, never mind. Let me ask you a question then. How many of you watch cable TV? Different channels. You people don't watch TV at all?
देखते हैं बस.
Okay. So, for example, if I'm a cable, if I'm a channel operator, right? If I have a production house, if I'm a production house, then who will be my customers?
Ma'am, the audience,
Who will be the audience? Yeah.
viewers, audience.
Okay. For example, if I run a drama production house, right? So I am producing fiction. I'm producing drama in the local language Urdu. So who would be my customers? The audience who is interested in watching such family dramas, right? What will be the product? The drama series that I'm able to produce with the help of my production house. Now, who will be my non-customer? Who will not be? I mean, you are very clear about who the customer of such a production house would be, but who will be my non-customer?
Those people which are working with you or workers in your field or which are called non-customers.
Okay. In other words, we can say that those who are not interested in watching that particular channel will be the non-customers, right? Or maybe those who are just browsing through my channel, and as soon as they shift the channel and they find something more interesting, they will shift from my channel to some other channel, right?
Yes.
And then there could be people who are not into watching any dramas at all. Maybe they are sport fanatics, so they will not be interested in watching the drama channel at all. They will be interested in watching the sports channels. This is the type of non-customers that you can think about if you are thinking from the perspective of a channel or a TV channel or a production house, right? Now, when we say that you have to look beyond your existing customers and products, and you have to look across your customers and alternative products, it means that you are not compartmentalizing your market or your value offerings in traditional ways, trying to see and identify that is there any common factor which can serve as a trigger to your thought to create something of which will be found to be of value by your existing customers and by your existing non-customers as well. So if I run a channel, will I be able to produce something which even those who are not into watching my channel will be interesting enough,
A
right?
class term.
Look, I have to look across my set of non-customers who are not interested into watching what I am producing right now. So I have to train my mind to look across different set of customers. What are we traditionally trained in? Traditionally, we are trained in looking at vertical shafts within the market. We are trained to look for people with similar needs. We are trained to develop products for those similar set of customers. We have to, number one, break this habit. If we have to move towards blue ocean, we have to break this habit. We have to look across different type of customers. We have to identify what their pain points were. A very recent and very relatable example is that of digital wallet, which I usually share with my existing set of strategy students as well. That what is a digital wallet? Why are people becoming more and more entrenched into that net of digital wallets? It is not restrictive like a bank. It offers you more flexibility. So many people are using digital wallets. Like students, please, and audience, please remember to turn off lights. May I have your attention, please? Unless and until you have a question, I would request you to keep yourselves muted. Coming back to the example that I was giving, when we think about EasyPaisa, when we talk about JazzCash, we see how beautifully these companies have looked beyond the existing banking customers and the existing banking products. They develop products in order to make life more easier for the banking customers as well, and to attract those set of customers also who were not at all considered by the banking industry itself. So for example, today, if I have to pay my maid her salary and I don't have change in my physical wallet right now, what can I do? I have her cell number and I can transfer that salary amount in her digital wallet. If she is using JazzCash, I can transfer it there. If she's using EasyPaisa, I can transfer it there. Traditionally, banks never thought of these individuals as their potential customers. So looking across non-customers, when digital wallet services were thinking of entering into Pakistan, they looked at these grassroots level realities and they thought of ways of expanding their customer base to reach out to these people who weren't ever considered, who were not even considered as a customer by the traditional banking company. And now, if you just Google the rate of growth of banking sector and the non-banking financial services, you can see where the growth rate is becoming more and more rapid. Similarly, the next set of interventions, what can we do? We can identify the common pain points of customers and non-customers, and we can identify the less valuable or the non-valuable features for customers and non-customers. These two set of activities actually help us in coming up with ideas that if we are trying to bring some product or service in the market, then what features should that product or service have, and which features which are currently offered by the other players in the market which are of less value or which do not contain any value at all for the existing customers or the non-customers as well, what we can do away with. It means that this second set of variables, the common pain points and the identification of less valuable and non-valuable features, helps us in designing the set of attributes, the set of characteristics, the set of features that we should build into our value offering. So together, these first two steps lead towards the bottom line result, which is that you are increasing what? Your buyer value in your proposition, and you are reducing cost in your value proposition. So this is the back end working behind those two inverted triangles of value innovation. The crux is that you have to stop looking just at your current customers, and you have to stop looking just at the pain points of your current customers. You need to broaden your vision to look across different people who are not your customers, and you have to break away from the traditional industry thinking that these features have to be built in your product because that's what every other player is doing. No, you do not feel constrained by what the other players are doing if you have to think in terms of creating a blue ocean strategy. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So now I am taking you to the first tool of how to create a blue ocean strategy. This is named as a strategy canvas. The canvas is blank for you, just like the whiteboard behind me. And what does this blank strategy canvas help you? You have to draw the value offering curves of the players in the industry on that canvas, and then you have to create the value curve of a blue ocean strategy on the same canvas. And together, when you use these value curves, you are able to determine how successful and how sustainable your blue ocean strategy is going to be. Let's have a look how the strategy canvas looks like. Okay. Obviously, canvas has two axes. On the horizontal axis, you have to show the factors that the current industry players are traditionally investing in, right? And on the vertical level, you have to show the relative level of investment by the different players on that particular factor of investment. So let me quickly show you that, as I told you, how many of you watch cable TV. So if I have to draw the strategy canvas of any cable TV, right? What are the factors on which the cable TVs have been traditionally investing upon? For example, the level of commercials, the quality of news programs, how live coverage of different sports is coming on that cable TV. Then what is the price of subscription to a cable TV, right? How responsive is your tech staff? How difficult or how easy or how time consuming it is to get the cable TV installed? Then what are the parental controls that are being offered? And what is the selection of different movies, for example, that the operators are offering, right? You can take your mind 15 years back, or you can ask your elder siblings or elder family members to revalidate this curve that I have drawn for you in front, which is displayed in front of the screen. And the values from 0 to 10 are actually showing the relative numbers or the relative level of investment on these different factors by different cable operators, right? Coming back to the previous slide. This strategy, this is an example of a strategy canvas, and it helps you in diagramming the current level and the current state of operations of the existing players, right? It helps you in understanding what the competing players are doing in the market, where are they investing, right? Okay, coming to another example, Netflix. I'm sure that all of you would be having your Netflix accounts. So if I compare the value offerings or the strategy of Netflix with the cable TV, I will be able to see that my strategy canvas is now showing two curves. And let's see how do we interpret these two curves, right? Cable TV, as I had already told you, what were the factors of investment for the cable TV? There were commercials, news programs, live coverage of sports, the price of subscription, the quality of tech support staff, then the installation of that whole cable infrastructure, and then we had parental content filtering. Now, compared to the previous slide, you would see that I have extended the x-axis by some factors which were not shown there just on the cable TV's curve. When I see what Netflix is doing and how Netflix is offering value, I see that there are certain factors on which Netflix has completely eliminated its investment. It is not doing what the other cable operators were doing, right? And there are certain factors which it introduced, which none of the previously active industry players were offering. Let's look at these two in detail. As you can see over here, the first three factors of investment: commercials, news programs, live sports. The relative level of investment for Netflix is 0 as compared to the high level of investments of the cable TV industry. It means that when Netflix wanted to enter the market, it was able to identify that on these three factors, it is going to completely eradicate the level of investment, and instead it is going to introduce some new factors of investment on which the current cable TV operators were not functioning at all. What were they? Ability to view full screen seasons. As you can see over here, it was not present in cable TV industry, but it was something which Netflix introduced. And the ability to watch from any location, this was again a feature which was added by Netflix. With cable TV, you had to be bound where the cable connection was coming, right? If you relate this level of investment with the value innovation triangles, you would be able to see that by eliminating these first three factors, Netflix is saving on cost, right? And by building on these two last factors, Netflix is increasing the value for the customers, but obviously it is also increasing its expenditure. Value innovation will occur when the increase in cost is in one factor or in one set of factors is is more than offset by the you can say over here you can see the reduction in cost. What I'm trying to say is that whatever is the cost saving over here in the left half of the curve, by diminishing these factors of investment, whatever is incurred on introducing these two factors has to be more than offset by this cost proposition, and the value which the customers are going to enjoy by the addition of these two additional factors has to be more than the combined value that different factors of investment of the cable TV operators, the cable TV factors were offering. So if I'm able to put my idea through to you, you would see that Netflix has done 4 things which are different from what the cable TV operators were doing. Let me explain those 4 things to you. I have already discussed 2, but I will reiterate. Number 1, it completely eliminated the investment on 3 factors, which were acquisition of commercials, quality and the production of news programs, and this live sports coverage. It completely eliminated that, right? What did it create, which none of the cable TV operators could do? Ability to view full screen sessions and the mobility factor, which was the ability to watch the programs or the series or the full seasons from any location. Okay? These are the 2 steps it did. Completely eliminating factors of investment from few factors and creating or introducing some new factors of investment which the industry had never thought of doing before. In addition, what did it do? Look at the tech support staff and look at the process complexity. It has reduced the level of investment beyond the level of investment on these 2 factors in comparison with the industry, right? So these factors are there for Netflix, but the level of investment on these 2 factors is less than what the industry, the cable TV industry was incurring. Similarly, look at these 2 factors, the parental content filtering and the movie selection. Netflix invested more as compared to the cable TV industry on these 2 factors. So what was the combined net result? The cost savings which it incurred by eliminating the first 3 factors and by reducing the level of investment on tech support staff and installation process complexity, more than offsetted the increase in cost or the increase in cost of offering ability to view full seasons and ability to watch any location. This is how it achieved net decrease in cost. How was the buyer value increased? By introducing 2 new factors which neither did the customers foresee that could be there from the cable TV operators, and neither had the cable TV operators or cable TV industry had thought of because of its structural limitations. So together you can see on this value curve that this strategy canvas is showing you the strategies of the cable TV industry and the value curve of Netflix. And the shape of these curves tells you that the 2 strategies are radically different. Yet the value offered by Netflix is more than the value offered by the cable TV. In other words, this strategy canvas is telling you that the blue ocean created by Netflix was more successful as compared to cable TV. It was more sustainable as well. How can you do that? If you mathematically calculate the area between these two curves, you can see that the reduction in cost is very much there, and the increase in value is also very much there. So when you transpose the two triangles of cost reduction and buyer value, you will see that there's a large overlapping area which is actually determining the value innovation. My dear audience, is this example clear to you?
Yes, ma'am, that's a very relevant and good example. Thanks.
All right. So my next question comes from here, that I want you people, I'll give you 10 seconds to answer this, right? Just come up with 2-3 factors of investment based on your working experience, based on the industry in which you are currently working for. What are the common factors on which all the industry players to which you belong are investing upon? Can we have some very quick examples, please? Because a workshop is meant to polish your thinking skills. So I would like to hear your response so that we can have collaborative learning in this workshop. All right, Tehreem Fatma, good, you have said technology. Tehreem, can I ask you in which organization you are working and which industry does that organization belong to?
मैम तो मैं मीज़ान बैंक में होती हूँ। तो अगर हम बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री के हिसाब से देखें तो टेक्नोलॉजी तो सबसे मेन फैक्टर है जिस पे हमारे बाकी कंपेटिटर्स भी वर्क कर रहे हैं
ओके
और यहीं पे हमारा सबसे अच्छा लेवरेज भी होता है।
ऑलराइट, मीज़ान बैंक का एग्जांपल लेकर हम आगे चलते हैं। मीज़ान बैंक के लिए इनकी वर्कर तहरीम कह रही है कि टेक्नोलॉजी इज वन ऑफ द फैक्टर्स on which all the banks are heavily investing in, and what is the purpose of investing on this technology? What do banks want to achieve by investing so much on technology? Tehreem?
जी, तो हमें एक एज चाहिए होता है ना, जैसे कि अगर आप ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग की ऐप को देखें, तो जो ऐप सबसे अच्छी होगी, जो अच्छी सर्विस देगी या जो अच्छा चलती है उसके साइज़ के हिसाब से, वो इंटरनेट के हिसाब से, तो कस्टमर तो उन्हीं बैंकिंग सर्विसेज़ को यूज़ करेगा। तो मतलब हमारा एज अगर ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग ऐप है, तो हमें उस पे ज़्यादा वर्क करना है, ज़्यादा इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है, ताकि लोकल कंज्यूमर्स के लिए आसानी हो।
ओके, वेरी गुड। टेक्नोलॉजी के अलावा कोई और फैक्टर जिस पे बैंक्स या आप लोग इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो? ऑलराइट,
सोच के बताती हूँ,
सॉरी,
थोड़ा सोचना पड़ेगा।
सोचना पड़ेगा। अच्छा, there was one person by the name of शाहरुख। शाहरुख, आपने कहा था कि ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग पे इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है बैंकिंग सेक्टर में। ओके, ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग में मतलब ठीक है, ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग पर भी इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है। सो if we try to collect a set of factors on which the banking industry is currently investing upon, we can say it's in collaboration, it's combinedly the factors are coming out as technology and branchless banking. Anything else? Zahir, you are saying ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स, क्या बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री में ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स की रिडक्शन काउंट करती है एज एन इन्वेस्टमेंट फैक्टर? Bankers should be able to guide me. You know banking better than I do.
मैम क्वेश्चन क्या था आपका?
मेरा सवाल ये है कि टेक्नोलॉजी और ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग के अलावा कोई फैक्टर है जिस पे बैंक्स इस वक्त इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं? ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स की अगर हम बात करें, कोई ऐसा फैक्टर है जिसके जरिए ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स कम हो रही हो बैंक्स की? फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग में ऑब्वियसली ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स कम होंगी, क्या कोई और तरीका है ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट्स को कम करने का?
This, so they're trying to reduce paper cost by using AI tools and BI tools and internet banking. So they're updating their apps constantly, so people don't have to go to branches or get print statements on paper.
ऑलराइट, ओके फाइन, ठीक है। अच्छा, अब हम अगर पर्टिकुलरली अगर हम पर्टिकुलरली मिजान बैंक के हवाले से बात करें, तो तरीन, डू यू थिंक दैट मिजान बैंक डिड समथिंग different from what other banks were doing?
मैम एज के लिए तो शुरू में इस्लामिक बैंकिंग ही उसका मेन था, जिसकी वजह से वो डिफरेंट बना। बट अब मेरे ख्याल से टेक्नोलॉजी का एज जो है वो उसके लिए फेवरेबल है। जैसे कि एटीएम मशीन्स हैं, अब तक अगर वो सिर्फ आप कैश वहाँ से विड्रॉ कर सकते थे, बट अब जैसे मिज़ान ने ये बनाई है कि अब आप कैश डिपॉजिट भी कर सकते हैं एटीएम मशीन से, जो अब हमारे टेस्टिंग के लिए हमारे ऑफिस में अवेलेबल हो चुकी है। तो यहाँ से ये चीज़ अच्छी है एक एज मिलने के लिए बाकी बैंकिंग के ऊपर।
ओके, तहरीम ने मुझे बहुत अच्छा पॉइंट दे दिया इस एग्जांपल को कैरी फॉरवर्ड करने के लिए इस्लामिक बैंकिंग का। देखें, I don't know how diverse my current audience is, but since all of you belong to or must be banking customers, I'm assuming you would be knowing by now that there are two types of banking. One is the traditional banking and one is the Islamic banking. So what is the difference between the two? The main essence of the difference is that Islamic banking is not based on interest, which is not which is not legitimate in Islam, right? So before the advent of Islamic banking, if I take your minds again to the non-customers, there were many individuals who were not banking customers. Why? Because according to their religious principles, banking was not an option which was allowed, or which was a legitimate option to be exercised according to their religion's Sharia laws, right? There was a vast set of non-customers of banking industry before the advent of Islamic banking. Now, when Islamic banking was introduced by Mizan Bank, and Mizan Bank claims to be the first or the premier Islamic bank, right? It immediately started attracting customers who were not targeted by traditional banks at all. So what happened was, if you can see on my screen, this was the size of the traditional banking market. With the advent of Islamic banking, the size of the market expanded. Why? Because the non-customers of traditional banking also became banking customers, but their choice of bank was not an un-Islamic bank. It was Islamic bank, like in this case, the first Islamic bank was Mizan. And then we have other banks operating now. And as you would be knowing, that State Bank of Pakistan has made it mandatory that by 2027, all the banks would be having at least one Islamic branch operational, if not the entire branch system to be converted to Islamic banking. It's a very good example of netting in those non-customers who never ever considered banking because of their religious values. Similarly, banks also never targeted them, knowing that they cannot win them over because of the clash between the modus operandi of the traditional banks and the religious values and the limitations of these people. So it brought in something new. And definitely by bringing in something new, what happened was that buyer value was increased. But in order to conclude this example, we need to offset this by decrease in cost as well. Because if we just say that Mizan Bank entered into the banking industry with the concept of Islamic banking, this is going to fall under the, you can say, under the purview of differentiation strategy. For value innovation or for Blue Ocean, two things have to occur simultaneously. We have to pursue differentiation, which in this case, you already know how it did. We also have to explain how it was able to achieve a low cost. Can somebody tell me? I'm a non-banker, right? But what is coming to my mind is that since Mizan Bank is not into interest, it is more into profit sharing. So the interest costs which other banks incur would be reduced in this case, or would be totally, in this case, obviously they should be totally eliminated. So this is how is Mizan Bank can offer cost saving and increase in buyer value simultaneously. And that is why at the time when Mizan Bank entered into Pakistan's market, it would have been a successful example of creating a blue ocean. Now what has happened? This blue ocean has not remained blue forever. Banks are converting to Islamic banking. And if the differentiation of Mizan Bank was solely on Islamic financial services, then this competitive advantage is going to completely end by 2027 when all the banks operating in Pakistan would have converted to Islamic banking. So now is a time that Islamic banks should think upon reconstructing a new blue ocean for themselves. They need to give a life cycle impulse, a new life cycle impulse to their value curve now. So, for example, if you think, अगर मैं यहाँ पे ये तो नेटफ्लिक्स का बना हुआ है ना, इसी तरह से अगर हम प्लॉट करते तो मिजान बैंक का बनता जब मिजान बैंक ने पाकिस्तानी मार्केट में इंटरेस्ट फ्री इस्लामिक बैंकिंग इंट्रोड्यूस की थी. लेकिन what I'm trying to tell you is that the shape of the blue ocean strategy curve will be something like what we have drawn over here. The blue line that you can see, that as compared to the industry average, there would be some factors which will be totally eliminated, some factors which will be reduced below the level of investment of the industry, some factors in which the Blue Ocean organization would have raised its level of investment as compared to the industry, and there would be some factors which would have been created altogether new by the Blue Ocean organization. So Blue Ocean का कर्व जो होगा उसकी शेप मोर और लेस इसी तरह की होती है जिस तरह से कि आपको यहाँ स्क्रीन पर नेटफ्लिक्स का कर्व नजर आ रहा है. सवाल अब ये पैदा होता है कि मीजान बैंक या for that matter any other Islamic bank working in Pakistan right now will have to create a blue ocean from this point onwards, because अगर banks के लिए हम ये बनाएं तो blue ocean नहीं रहा. Other banks are trying to bring in similar strategies, similar products. So what was the value addition or what was the value innovation by Mizan Bank is going to become smaller and smaller by 2027. And if someone has to create a new competitive advantage or new value addition for the period 2027 onwards. It has to think now that what could be the new factors which could be added on this curve, which could be the factors which should be further eliminated from this curve. So I hope this example is thought-provoking for my dear audience belonging to the banking industry. Am I clear to them? Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, miss.
All right. So actually, if we sum up these actions that I have already told you, they are the elimination of factors, the reduction of some factors, the raising of some factors, and the creation of some factors. So eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. This actually makes up your 4 actions framework. Whenever you are thinking of creating a blue ocean for your organization, for your product, for your brand, you have to think of 4 actions that you need to do. On which factors you have to reduce your level of investment in comparison with what the industry is doing, on which factors you have to totally eliminate your level of investment, which factors you have to create totally new for the industry, and on which factors you have to raise your level of investment. And this is how it together, these 4 actions leads towards your overall cost and overall. Yeah, thank you very much for muting your mic. These 4 actions together tell you how the overall cost is reduced and how the overall value for the buyer is increased. And together with their interception, we get the blue ocean strategies, value innovation. The larger this overlap area is, the more significant, the more sustainable your value innovation is. The smaller this overlap is, the less sustainable and less significant is your value innovation. Any questions so far? Should I move forward? Okay. Now, I'm sorry for that. Yeah. As you can see on the screen, I have shown you 6 logos. Most of you will be able to identify all 6 of them, right? Students and my dear audience, are you with me?
Yes, miss.
All right. Now, can you tell me? Let's talk about EasyPaisa, right? We have discussed some points of EasyPaisa's Blue Ocean strategy, but can anybody quickly recall why is EasyPaisa a good example of Blue Ocean strategy within Pakistan?
EasyPaisa was the first broadcast banking venue for the people of Pakistan, and it was by Telenor, and they entered a market which is untouched, unthought of in Pakistan, and they really made good from this microfinance banking, and their Blue Ocean strategy worked well for them, and they raised, I think, another bank from it. But later on, it has been joined by JAS, then Ufone and others. So it's no more a Blue Ocean market now. But I think still there is a lot of opportunity in it, because in Pakistan, financial inclusion is very less. Less than 30% people are in the banking inclusion. So still, it's a big market, and they are exploring it. And for example, they have tried that the agriculture farmers they also make use of this service. So this is what I could say.
Right, Atif, that was excellent recap of what happened to this company since its inception. I would like to draw your attention to a few comments that I'm reading. Uh, uh, Mr. Mohammed Abdullah has written in the comments that Easy Paisa is thinking beyond industry boundaries, and it is targeting the non-customers, the small retailers and non-banking channel customers to address their banking needs. Abdullah, I would really like you to unmute your mic and let us know what is your idea when you say that Easy Paisa has thought beyond the industry boundaries. Can you explain that in a little more detail? Muhammad Abdullah, if you can hear me. जी, I would like you to explain आपके जहन में आप ऑडियंस को समझाइए आप क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं जब आप ये कहते हैं thinking beyond the industry boundaries. It's a very beautiful phrase, very apt for Blue Ocean strategy, a gem of a phrase, I should say. आपका mic mute हो गया है दोबारा. If you can unmute it and let us know. All right. What about Zameen.com? Are you people familiar with Zameen.com?
मैम ज़मीन ने भी यही किया ना कि पहले हमारे यहाँ एजेंसीज होती थी घर वगैरह के लिए, तो उसने वो वाली चीज़ को ऑनलाइन ट्रांसफ़र कर दिया।
क्या
तो अब लोग ऑनलाइन सर्च कर सकते हैं अगर उनको घर लेना हो या फिर कुछ रेंटल प्रॉपर्टी चाहिए हो या ओन करने के लिए। तो पहले तो एजेंसीज होती थी उस पर्टिकुलर एरिया में जहाँ उन्हें लेना है, तो फिर उनको उस एरिया जाना पड़ता था, फिर वहीं की एजेंसीज घूम के आपको पता लगेगा। बट अब यहाँ आप जहाँ पर भी हैं ऑनलाइन देख सकते हैं।
Okay. अच्छा, ये नीचे जमीन के नीचे जो लोगो बना हुआ है, all of you are familiar with this logo, right? किसका लोगो है ये? जमीन के नीचे the right bottom right corner पे जो लोगो बना हुआ है, ठीक है? क्या आपको जमीन और दराज में कुछ कॉमनैलिटी नजर आती है? अगर मैंने ये दो एग्जांपल्स डाले में एज लोकल एग्जांपल्स ऑफ ब्लू ओशन स्ट्रेटजी, तो आप इन दो प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे आपको क्या चीज कॉमन नजर आ रही है?
एक मार्केट है, ऑनलाइन मार्केट।
दोनों ऑनलाइन मार्केट से, ठीक है? और they are marketplaces, right, Abdullah, and they do not own the inventories, right? अच्छा, फिर फूड पैंडा, क्या फूड पैंडा भी इसी कैटेगरी में आता है? फूड पैंडा
छोटे वाला तो जाहिर था मैं अगर इधर ही रखवा देंगे टेबल सही करवाना मुश्किल है।
If you are not answering, your mic's mute. Naeem Akhtar, are you answering what I asked you? Okay, thank you very much. मोहम्मद अब्दुल्ला ने कमेंट किया था कि Zameen.com और दराज में क्या चीज कॉमन है कि दे आर मार्केट प्लेसेस, दे डोंट ओन इन्वेंट्रीज। मेरा सवाल है कि इज द सेम ट्रू फॉर फूड पैंडा? फूड पैंडा भी ठीक है, ओन नहीं करता, ठीक है। ओके, व्हाट अबाउट करीम?
Careem also does not own the vehicles. It just register them, pays some uh, premium to the drivers, and again, it's a fleet which is registered by people. So it also is not maintaining an inventory of its own.
ठीक है। अच्छा देखिए, एक चीज बड़ी आप लोगों ने रियलाइज की होगी कि ब्लू ओशन टेक्नोलॉजी के लिए हमको इन एग्जांपल्स में ये नजर आ रहा है कि वैल्यू इनोवेशन तो हम कर ही रहे हैं, राइट, लेकिन वैल्यू इनोवेशन का जो इंजन है, जो ड्राइविंग फोर्स है, वो डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी है। You would find very few examples of firms that have created a blue ocean without simultaneously investing on technology. I think it was Tehreem जिन्होंने मीजान की एग्जांपल में सबसे पहला फैक्टर ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट जो था वो टेक्नोलॉजी बताया था, ठीक है। फिर शाहरुख थे, उन्होंने कहा कि ब्रांचलेस बैंकिंग की तरफ आ रहे हैं। फिर आप लोगों ने आप में से किसी और ने कहा कि एप्स के ऊपर इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही है। फिर हम जब इस स्क्रीन पे आते हैं, हमने देखा कि जमीन ने भी एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म जो है वो क्रिएट किया, जहाँ पे बायर्स और सेलर्स के लिए एक मार्केट प्लेस क्रिएट की। सेम गोज फॉर दराज, सेम गोज फॉर फूड पैंडा, सेम गोज फॉर इजी पैसा, सेम गोज फॉर करीम। तो हमको ये नजर आ रहा है कि टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशन जो है वो सॉरी टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट, नॉट आई यूज्ड रॉन्ग वर्ड, नॉट टेक्नोलॉजिकल इनोवेशन, technological advancement, the harnessing of technology, especially the digital technology, is becoming the backbone of creating blue ocean strategy. Why? Because when we are thinking of reducing the costs and expanding the horizon of buyer value, the tool that we are all using is that of डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी। हम वही काम विदाउट डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी करते हैं, हमें कॉस्ट बहुत महंगी पड़ जाती है, ठीक है, हमारी रीच इतनी नहीं होती। बट द मोमेंट वी शिफ्ट टुवर्ड्स the usage of digital technology, it shows that we are able to strategize a way which makes our processes more cost effective, more cost efficient, and we are able to deliver more to a larger volume of people as well. So we are able to operate at a much lower level of cost, and we are able to bring something which is of so much convenience to the customer that the entire value proposition is built on that cost reduction and increase in value proposition. Let me quickly make you go through the 4 actions framework for Careem, ठीक है। इसमें हम ये देख रहे हैं कि what were the factors that Careem, जैसे उससे पहले भी तो टैक्सीज काम करती थी ना। Careem जब नहीं था, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट थी, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट नहीं तो प्राइवेट ट्रांसपोर्ट के लिए हम टैक्सीज को हेल करते थे, हमें सड़क पे जाना पड़ता था, टैक्सीज के लिए इंतजार करना पड़ता था, या पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट को अवेल करना पड़ता था, राइट। नाउ थिंकिंग ऑफ दिस environment in which customers were able to select their options of either using their own private transport or using public transport or using the taxi system, ठीक है। अब हम देखते हैं कि जब करीम आया तो उसने किस तरह से उस वक्त ब्लू ओशन क्रिएट किया, और जिस तरह से कि अब आपको बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री में नजर आ रहा है कि इस्लामिक बैंक्स के लिए ब्लू ओशन जो है वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता रेड होना शुरू हो रहा है, तो हमें अब राइट हेल सर्विसेज के लिए भी नजर आ रहा है कि वो ब्लू ओशन जो करीम ने अपने एडवेंट के वक्त पाकिस्तान में एंजॉय किया था, अब वो ब्लू ओशन भी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता रेड में तब्दील हो गया. लेकिन let's take our minds back to the point when Kareem was a new entrant in this market, and let's see which factor did it eliminate. Unreliable, non-transparent pricing का जो एक एलिमेंट था वो करीम ने अपने बिजनेस मॉडल से कंप्लीटली एलिमिनेट कर दिया था. इसके बाद फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पर जो रिलायंस थी वो रिड्यूस की कि आपको टैक्सी स्टैंड तक नहीं जाना पड़ता, आपको अपने घर की कंफर्ट से निकल के टैक्सी के लिए खार नहीं होना पड़ता. वो जो खारी थी ना वो खत्म कर दी. ठीक है. रेस किया क्या सर्विस रिलायबिलिटी, ट्रांसपेरेंसी, कस्टमर सर्विस, सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स and the variety of ride options. And what did it create? It actually created app-based platform, and फिर उसमें जाहिर है कि उसने एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म क्रिएट किया जिसमें ड्राइवर पार्टनर मॉडलशिप भी अवेलेबल थी. And then it kept on adding new features like loyalty programs and discounts. And then it started the bike service, the freight service, and obviously these features were not unimitable. This blue ocean was a very attractive market for other businesses as well. और आप करीम के बाद हमने देखा मार्केट में स्विवल आई थी. स्विवल for some reasons इस मार्केट से उसने एग्जिट भी कर लिया. हमने देखा InDrive आई, InDrive is still there. उबर आई थी, उबर खत्म हो गई. और अब जो रीसेंट एग्जांपल्स में हमें नजर आ रहा है, सॉरी रीसेंट एंट्रेंट जो हमें इसमें नजर आ रहा है वो हमें यांगो का नजर आ रहा है. नाउ if you come forward from that point in time when Kareem created this blue ocean and new entrants started entering, तो अब अगर आप दोबारा as of today अगर आप स्ट्रेटजी कैनवस करीम यांगो InDrive का बनाएंगे, मेरा अपना ये ख्याल है कि मोर और लेस इनके जो स्ट्रेटजी कैनवसेस हैं उनकी शेप एक ही जैसी हो जाएगी. You will not be able to tell me that which of these is actually following a blue ocean strategy now, because the strategy of Kareem was once a blue ocean, but when InDrive came, when Yango came, वो blue ocean की जो blueness थी ना वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता red में होना शुरू हो गई है. तो all right. So now what do you what if you are asked to quickly come up with few suggestions, how can this industry recreate a blue ocean? For example, a new hail ride company is going to come in and looking at this platform which is turning red. What would be your suggestion? How can a new blue ocean be created? जी. Ji, if you
community-based connectivity where some platforms can be raised and people can share the polling services, and it will save the cost to people, and it would be easier for them to pick and drop people from within communities, and it would add on to socialization as well.
ठीक है. उसमें एक फैक्टर जैसे मेरा आएगा फॉर एग्जांपल के सेफ्टी कंसर्न्स को आप कैसे एड्रेस करेंगे. अगर आप ये फीचर इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं तो सेफ्टी कंसर्न्स को आप कैसे, जो अंडरमाइन होगी इस सूरत में शेयर्ड राइट्स के, उसमें आप बात कर रहे हैं गालिबन, इफ आई एम करेक्ट, राइट?
जी, शेयर्ड ड्राइवर, लेकिन उसमें जब आप कम्युनिटी बेस्ड उसको करते हैं, फिर जिस तरह एक रेगुलेटर है, करीम वाज अ रेगुलेटर, इन ड्राइवर इज अ रेगुलेटर जहाँ पे वो रजिस्टर करते हैं लोगों को, ड्राइवर्स को और उनके व्हीकल्स को। ऑल्सो इन बिल्ट सेफ्टी इज टू इट। लाइकवाइज अगर इसको फॉर्मलाइज करना होगा तो फिर कोई एक पीछे ऑपरेटर होगा, और वो ऑपरेटर फिर उन कम्युनिटीज बेस्ड, लोकेलिटी बेस्ड जो है वो उनको रजिस्टर करेगा, सो दैट सेफ्टी इज आल्सो अ फैक्टर दैट इज टेकन केयर ऑफ।
Okay. So maybe what you are saying is कि माइक्रो टारगेटिंग की जाए उसके बाद।
जी डेफिनेटली, पहले तो कॉन्सेप्ट को बिल्ड किया जाए इसको, फिर उसमें ये सेफ्टी, सिक्योरिटी और ईज फॉर पीपल, रिड्यूसिंग द कॉस्ट और रिलायबिलिटी, इन तमाम फैक्टर्स को देखते हुए फिर इसको डेफिनेटली बिल्ड किया जा सकता है आइडिया को।
वेरी नाइस। ओके, व्हाट अबाउट जो यहाँ पे इन्होंने एक चीज यहाँ पे कस्टमर्स कन्वीनियंस के बारे में बात की हुई है। हाउ डू यू थिंक a new entrant should be able to raise the level of customer convenience further for which will leave Careem and InDrive and Yango far behind?
करीम ने डिफरेंट व्हीकल्स रखे थे, लेट्स से कि उसमें टोयोटा पे अगर आप जा रहे हैं, बड़ी सेडान पे जा रहे हैं, या आप छोटी गाड़ी उसके लिए बुक कर रहे हैं, तो जाहिर है उसमें से आपका कंफर्ट लेवल फर्क होगा। लाइकवाइज इसके अंदर भी कैटेगराइजेशंस की जा सकती हैं, और फिर से इसी के हिसाब से लाइफ ऑफ व्हीकल्स के हिसाब से जो व्हीकल जितना पुराना होता जाएगा उसके अंदर आपकी डाउटफुलनेस ज़्यादा ही होती है, और मेंटेनेंस के जो हमारे यहाँ मुल्क के अंदर है उसके अंदर डेफिनेटली देयर इज अ लाइकलीहुड के बंदा ट्रैप भी हो जाए। तो इन सारे फैक्टर्स को वे आउट करना पड़ेगा डेफिनेटली।
Right. Okay. I would just like to एक कमेंट किया आया था कि पाकिस्तान के हवाले से we need to see ये सारी बातें जब हो रही थी पाकिस्तान के हवाले से, तो मैं ये कहना चाह रही थी कि जरा नम हो ये मट्टी बड़ी जरखेज है साथी। All these local examples that you have seen over there were the, you can say, head turners of their times, ठीक है। वो ब्लू ओशन रेड ओशन में कन्वर्ट हो गया, इसमें ब्लू ओशन स्ट्रेटजी की कोई वीकनेस नहीं है। इट इज अ नेचुरल कोर्स विच अ ब्लू ओशन स्ट्रेटजी टेक्स ओवर टाइम, कि वो मार्केट जाहिर नई मार्केट होती है, अनचार्टेड मार्केट होती है, अनकंटेस्टेड मार्केट होती है, तो जाहिर है कि वो नए प्लेयर्स अट्रैक्ट करती है। जैसे जैसे नए प्लेयर्स आते चले जाते हैं, मार्केट जो है उसमें सैचुरेशन होने लगती है। जैसे यहाँ पे किसी ने पहले ये लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किया था, रेड ओशन में कन्वर्ट होने लगता है, मार्केट साइज लिमिट होने लगता है, और फिर जरूरत इस बात की होती है कि हम दोबारा से अपनी ब्लू ओशन के जो टूल्स हैं, जो फ्रेमवर्क्स हैं, उनको इस्तेमाल करें, और एक नया ब्लू ओशन जो है वो उस वक्त क्रिएट करें जब एग्जिस्टिंग ब्लू ओशन रेड ओशन में तब्दील हो जाता है। जहां तक पाकिस्तान की बात है, सेहत कहानी इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल, मोस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट वेंचर्स इन टेलीमेडिसिन, और ये जाहिर है कि ब्लू ओशन का एक बड़ा अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है। हमारे यहाँ ट्रस्ट इश्यूज होते हैं टेलीमेडिसिन के हवाले से, हमारे यहाँ ट्रांसपेरेंसी के इश्यूज होते हैं टेलीमेडिसिन के हवाले से। वी डोंट नो हु द डॉक्टर्स आर हु विल बी ऑन द प्लेटफॉर्म, लेकिन सेहत कहानी डेवलप दिस ब्लू ओशन बाय टेकिंग इनटू अकाउंट ऑल द concerns of the people for whom this platform, this digital telemedicine platform was being created, जहाँ पे एक तरफ उसने डॉक्टर्स की स्क्रीनिंग्स पे बहुत काम किया, और you can be very sure of what type of doctors, what are their qualifications that you will find through सेहत कहानी। तो simultaneously वहाँ पे इसने अपने ब्लू ओशन को रिक्रिएट करने के लिए शुरू में सिर्फ टेलीमेडिसिन था, उसके बाद फिर इसने फॉर एग्जांपल अपनी फार्मेसीज वगैरह भी इंट्रोड्यूस करवाई। सो if you look at this this is something indigenous to Pakistan. This is something आखिर में जो मैंने acknowledgements दी हुई हैं उसमें मैंने ब्लू ओशन कॉन्सेप्ट के जो क्रिएटर्स हैं किम एंड मोबीजी ने उनको एक्नॉलेज किया है, हार्वर्ड की कुछ केस स्टडीज को मैंने एक्नॉलेज किया है जहां से मैंने ये स्ट्रैटेजी कैनवस का फिगर वगैरह आपके लिए लिया था। लेकिन साथ ही साथ सेहत कहानी जो एक इंडिजिनस मटेरियल है उसको उसके लिए मैंने एक्नॉलेजमेंट दी है। सेहत कहानी के जो ओनर्स हैं दे हैव बीन वेरी वेरी हेल्पफुल in sharing what they did, because in Pakistan you wouldn't find many organizations who are open to talk about their strategies, but based on what we learned from them, you can see कि ये जो blue curve है ये सेहत कहानी का है और बाकी रेड लाइन जो है वो आपके बाकी इंडस्ट्री प्लेयर्स का है। So how is this created the blue ocean? टेलीमेडिसिन ने लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल पे कस्टमर्स की कॉस्ट को बिल्कुल खत्म कर दिया था। फिजिकल इंटरैक्शन बिटवीन पेशेंट्स एंड डॉक्टर्स को खत्म करके टाइम और कॉस्ट की ज़ाहिर सेविंग्स लेकर आए। इसी तरह से बड़े हॉस्पिटल्स में अच्छे डॉक्टर्स से अपॉइंटमेंट मिलने के बाद भी आपको डॉक्टर से मिलने के लिए फेस टू फेस टाइम लगता है, वेट करना पड़ता है, उस चीज को एलिमिनेट कर दिया और डिजिटल मेडिकल रिकॉर्ड्स क्रिएट किए, डिजिटल प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मॉडल क्रिएट किया, मोबाइल ऐप क्रिएट की, एंड दिस इज हाउ सेहत कहानी इज अ वेरी रेलेवेंट example of a success story coming from Pakistan. Sehat Kahani is widely talked about on international forums, on international conferences, multidisciplinary conferences, जहाँ पे ये मेडिसिन से रिलेटेड कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में इसका एग्जांपल दिया जाता है, वहीं पे मार्केटिंग से रिलेटेड कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में भी इसका एग्जांपल दिया जाता है। So the only thing that you should be taking from this workshop today is this learning that it's very easy to train your mind to break away from the traditional mindset. I've told you two key points in today's workshop. Number one, you have to look beyond the existing set of customers, and number two, you have to look beyond the existing pain points and the current need assessment of your existing customers. Only by doing so you would be able to open your mind, think about what new opportunities can be developed while remaining within the resources which are accessible to you. So by doing this, you have to create value for the buyers, and at the same time, you have to reduce the level of cost at which you are able to create, communicate, and deliver that value. So that brings me to the end of this presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any further questions, I am more than happy to take your questions now. Any questions, any comments? I'm sorry if someone is speaking, your voice is not very audible. If someone is speaking, may I request that person to speak a bit loudly?
Oh, but madam.
All right, Khan Mohammed Atif Saif Khan, you have asked for the major difference between Blue Ocean and Clayton Christensen's disruptive innovation. A very good question. In this work, since the purpose of this workshop was to acquaint you with the basic tool and framework to train your mind to think out of the box. So basically, I did not touch upon disruptive innovation. One of the examples of disruptive innovation would be which makes the existing way of doing the business obsolete. It may be due to a technological shift, or it can be due to some reactive response to what's happening in the traditional market. But yes, disruptive innovation is an expansive subject in itself, and it's more, you can say, it's more towards, you can say, technological innovation, which makes the existing products and processes obsolete. It was on a similar note, I would like to give you an example that when people are going to switch from fossil fuel towards alternate energy, then they will not remain captive to companies like K Electric. So, what do you think is going to be disrupted at that time if companies who are currently working in basing their businesses on fossil fuels right now will be they will be experiencing disruptive innovation. They will be experiencing a very quickly slipping away customer demand as well. We can take one or two more questions.
आशा का माल पार्टिसिपेंट्स, अगर आपका कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो हम अब सेशन को क्लोज करें। आप लोगों का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आप लोग तशरीफ़ लाए और मिस फरीहा ने अपना कीमती टाइम दिया। एस्पायर से आप जुड़े रहें। हमारा नेक्स्ट एक सेशन है इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस पर। अगर आप में से कोई रावलपिंडी इस्लामाबाद में से है और वो ज्वाइन करना चाहता है तो ज़रूर हमसे कांटेक्ट करके वो कर सकता है ज्वाइन। और उसके बाद हमारा ऑनलाइन सेशन 25 दिसंबर को भी है, कायद आज़म मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना पर है, तो आप जुड़े रहें। आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। अब हम सेशन को क्लोज करते हैं। इंशाल्लाह 3 से 4 दिन में आपके सर्टिफिकेट्स और रिकॉर्डिंग जो है वो आपको मिल जाएगी। ठीक है, थैंक यू मिस।
Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच मिस। अल्लाह हाफिज़।
Thank you so much. Well, Allah Hafiz.